people only access that form of identification if they're interested in travel. And we have another form of identification in the form of our driver's license, which is a smaller cohort of people who are registered to drive, again, something that you access at a cost. So we've never developed a trusted, verifiable database to prove that you, Charlton, are who you say you are. So what that means is that when you go to transact business and somebody says, we need to know that Paula is who she says she is, show us your ID. And Paula and me pull out her voter's ID and they look at it and they say, yes, but this can't really prove, we need a little bit more. So Paula, do you have a JP and that can tell us that you are really who you say you are? Can you take a picture and have the JP sign the back of it that confirms that you are who you say you are? And I think all of us had to go through all of those inefficient processes because we do not have this trusted, verifiable database. So the national ID system, on the one hand, will give us a database, the first of its kind in Jamaica, that will verify your identity. Additionally, it will for the first time give us the opportunity to now leverage the technology by having an e-identification card. So an ID card that is backed by the relevant software and processes so that you don't necessarily have to have the card to prove that you are who you say you are, because we have electronic systems put in place that you can use to verify that you are who you say you are.
Excellent, well done. So what I'm hearing, Minister, from you is that, frankly speaking, all the IDs we have now are functional IDs, while the NIDS will be a civil ID,
yes,
where anyone will qualify.
Absolutely.
Right? So the next question, Minister, is, you know, Jamaicans are keen on safety and they're keen on privacy. So when it comes to the security around this card, you know, the security around the database, Minister, tell us a little bit about that. You know, how will Jamaicans be able to trust this national identification card?
Yeah, so, and I'll pick up on one of the points that you made in closing off the last question, that I think is a point that is very critical for Diaspora to appreciate, and for everybody, is that every Jamaican qualifies for the national identification card. It doesn't matter if you are a Jamaican living in New York or the United Kingdom or wherever in the world. Once you are a Jamaican citizen, you can get a national identification card. Additionally, those who are resident in Jamaica for 6 months or more will also qualify for the national identification card. You know, one of the beauties of having Jamaica design a national identification card is that we appreciate that, one, our people want to ensure that we have the highest level of security. Our people want to ensure that they can trust. We're not a very trusting people by nature. So we had to go above and beyond in designing the system, appreciating how we are as a people, to make this definitely the most secure form of identity we will ever have. So let's speak about some of the things that we've put in place. So for the first time in our history, in our law, we have a number of things to protect the data that we will collect. So for the first time, we have in a law that once the data is collected, it is encrypted on entry. Now, what does that mean in simple terms? So if we collect Senator Leslie Campbell's information and you put it in the system, you, Charlton, can just come and look at it and see what happened. It goes into ineligible form that can only be accessed by those who are authorized to access. And we think that is very, very important. Additionally, we're using the modern technology of blockchain to ensure that the audit trails will not go away. Again, what does that mean? If you access it, Charlton, you can't then erase it so that we can't say that it has been accessed. We will know who accessed the information at what time and if they were so authorized to do. So clearly, by law, we've made unauthorized access a criminal offense. And additionally, we haven't just said the NIDS will provide its own security and will validate its own security. We've gone further to put in oversight. And the NIDS is the only system that has two forms of oversight. So by law, we will have an inspectorate that will ensure that our National Identification Registration Authority is complying with the legislation, and that's an independent body that will report to Parliament in the form of the ECJ. But additionally, the National Identification System is under the Data Protection Act. again, for members of the diaspora, Jamaica has now the most modern Data Protection Act in the Caribbean. It is a consent-based data protection system. What it means is that we cannot give out your data without you consenting. And we have an independent the Information Commissioner, who will again ensure that the data is dealt with in a manner that complies with the Data Protection Act.
So, Minister, in short, there is no other system right now in Jamaica that has those levels of security.
No, you see, the beauty of this is that this was built for purpose. It's a fit-for-purpose system. So it's just like you design a school, yes? You can have a wonderful school, you had a building and you decided to occupy it. You might be running a good school, but imagine if you had the opportunity to design the school that you wanted. With the National Identification System, we've had the opportunity to design a fit-for-purpose system. Let me tell you something about the card itself, because you will have a card, although it's an electronic system, because we thought it was important for the transition. But I would say the most secure card we have in Jamaica now has about 12 security features. Our national identification card itself will have 26 security features. So when I say we've gone to the full extent, we have level 1, level 2, and level 3 security features because, again, we're building a fit-for-purpose system. And it will have your information, it will have my information, the Prime Minister's information, my son's information. So we have to ensure that as much as possible, we've taken all reasonable steps to ensure the highest level of protection.
So, Minister, in a sense, there is absolutely no reason why Jamaicans can't have full confidence in the security behind this card, because what I'm hearing is operationally, it will have end-to-end encryption, it will have blockchain to ensure that all the audit trails remain intact, and the governance framework is very, very robust.
Yeah,
so,
and I made a point this morning that when you join a digital transformation journey, if you take the right steps, you can get to the front of the line. One of the good things is that we haven't just depended on our own expertise. While we do have a very solid Jamaican company working on a national identification system, but we have a company from France, a company from the United States, we have a company from the US. We've also looked at best practices from around the world. So I think the Estonians have probably the best security framework, and they're working with us to develop our security policies, and we've looked at what has happened in our jurisdictions, like India, and how can we learn from them. So we are designing, as I said, a really fit-for-purpose system that Jamaicans can trust and should trust.
Excellent. So, Minister, having spoken about what NIDS is and how safe it is, tell us now, what are the benefits for the average Jamaican to having a national identification card?
Yes, so the reality, and that's why I started the conversation by trying to explain where we are and how we've got there, because we've taken some of these things for granted. For example, the requirement of the JPs that it has to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. And quite frankly, it shouldn't be like this. In Barbados, that has had a national identification card since the 1970s, all you need when you go to present yourself for a service is your national identification card. So one, the national identification card of Jamaica will make life a lot easier. Firstly, by law, this is all you will need to prove identity. So the law literally says that once you present your national identification card, that is sufficient to prove that you are who you say you are. Additionally, the law goes further. It says no entity, no individual should ask for the provision of additional information to prove your identity. So in one fell swoop, it will make our life easier. But now, the ability now to leverage technology will mean that we can start getting rid of the duplication. So already, we are moving in a direction that when you go to sign up for your national identification card, if you already have a TRN number, you will not need a new number, right? We will take that TRN number, we will put the national identification system around it, and that will become your national identification number. So already, you will not now need a TRN card. And vice versa. If you do not have a TRN card, You come in, you get your national identification number. Let us say you need to transact some business now, and you need a TRN. You will not have to go through a new process, because that national identification number can be used as your TRN. And we're doing that for the full gamut. So we want to move to a stage where you will not need another card to prove that you're licensed to operate a motor vehicle, because your national identification card will have that information. So if you're stopped by the police and they say, let us see your driver's license, you back out your national ID. And again, remember, because the electronic card, and we're moving on parallel streets, our police already now have the capacity to issue electronic tickets, to do electronic readings, so they can take your card and they will be able to say whether you're licensed to drive a motor vehicle or not. So part of what we will be doing to make life easier is really bringing everything into one. And over time, and it won't happen tomorrow, it won't happen as we roll out the first card, but over time the expectation is that all you will need is one card. And the final thing is, now this card will be backed by an electronic platform. And what we want, and what we've seen in other parts of the globe, is that you can use that now to unlock government services. So again, in countries that have a robust electronic ID, when they go onto the government portal, all they do is enter their national identification number, and they're able to access almost all government services from the comfort of their home. There's no need for duplication in filling up forms. All of that can be populated for you, and you only fill in the variable parts. So when we say we're really going to be taking government to the people using this electronic ID, that is what we're about.
Excellent. Minister, you have been very, very clear. One question, though, that I got while looking at the questions coming in from the participants online is, how do I enroll?
Yes. And I've gotten a lot of questions from the diaspora about enrollment. I know that nothing is going to bring our diaspora more joy than when they can back out their purse or wallet or card holder and back out their card and show their electronic national identification card when somebody says, are you Jamaican? And that is where we're going. So one, we're going to have an enrollment process that combines both in-person and online. So the idea is to have enrollment centers right across the length and breadth of Jamaica. We have decided to start with a pilot project because we want to ensure that we work out any nuances, want to ensure that the process is as efficient as possible. So we're going to have a pilot project in Kingston and St. Andrew, right? And the idea is to start with 5 enrollment sites over time. We have partnered with the post office, so we're going to be utilizing the post office space. We're going to be retrofitting that space. So again, I think this is how smart government operates. Instead of trying to build new buildings, our post offices are well located, but the reality is that their utilization has gone down tremendously. So why not repurpose them and do something with them? So we're going to be using our post office to have the enrollment center. What will happen? Somebody will be able, once you have the capacity, to go online and pre-enroll. So we will have a pre-enrollment site where you can enter most of the information. So the diaspora people, that will be open to you as well. Go online, enter your information. Now, you will have to come to Jamaica. And I know this is not the hard part because you normally come to Jamaica. You will want to come to Jamaica. But you would understand that there will be a section that you have to go into the enrollment site so that we can capture your facial image, we can take your fingerprint, and we can process your card. So the beauty of the pre-enrollment site is that you will be able to not only enter your information, but set an appointment. So for those in the diaspora, you will be able to enter your information, set an appointment for when you're traveling to Jamaica, then come into the enrollment center. We will capture the information, we will process the card, we will give you a tracking number so you can see the process. Clearly, there has to be a verification process because we have to take some steps to ensure that when Professor Ying comes in and gives us his information, we can really say that he is Professor Ying. So we're working on the time frame, but we will give you a specific time that you will be able to come in, collect your card, and then you're good to go.
Fantastic. So it sounds pretty organized. It sounds as if we are almost there, which brings us to my final question, Minister, is what are the timelines for enrollment?
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there. We have earmarked that in the second half of this year, we should be able to roll out our national identification system. I'll give you some specifics in terms of where we are. Our card production center, we're about 97% there. And that should be completed this month in terms of our card production center. So that will produce our cards, put information on the cards. Our software that will be backing up our national identification system, we're about 90% there. We envision that by July, that should be ready. Our first enrollment site should be ready in August of this year. And then we have another 4 that we expect to be ready between September and October of this year. So again, we expect that by the mid-second half of the year, we will start rolling out with our pilot. Then clearly we will do an assessment, see how it's going. We expect that by early 2023, we would start rolling out our enrollment centers throughout Jamaica. The plan is to have at least initially 2 enrollment sites per parish. In some urban centers, we'll have to have more as we roll out, as we're doing in Kingston and St. Andrew. So by mid-2023, I would say the third quarter in 2023, we should have our enrollment sites up and ready, and we should have a full national rollout.
Minister, I want to thank you. I know you are pressed for time. I know you have Parliament.
Yeah, and let me just make some plugs. So again, I know you have a lot of questions. You can check our website, NIDS, NIDS, facts, FACTS.com. So that's nidsfacts.com. You can see the information we already have there. You can also send us information, send us questions, and we will respond. We're also on all social media, so Instagram, Twitter, NIDS Facts. Follow us, and you can find me, Floyd Green, JA, across all your platforms. Send me your questions. I'll respond as soon as possible. Don't hold it against me in terms of time frame, but I will get to them. Thank you.
Excellent. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for NIDS and digital transformation, the Honorable Floyd Green, who has invited you all to send him your questions, and he promises to respond to them personally. Thank you very much, Minister. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Find the businesses to help you live a better life, a beautiful life, a graceful life with Grace Kennedy Financial Group.
And even bigger hills to climb. This life is one big road with many curves and winds. When you need a friend to guide you to the strength you have inside, VM will be your guide, always by your side. We're a firm foundation here to stay, build you a brighter way, yeah. Transform your everyday, turn your dreams to reality. VM makes you all you can be, yes. Transform your everyday, transform your everyday.
VM Group, transform your everyday.